Newsradio 700 WLW.
I saw this. There's a guy in Massachusetts, big Trump supporter, had several pro-Trump signs stolen from his front yard over the course of the summer, and to protect the latest he put on his front lawn, he put an electrical fence around this sign. And apparently this has happened several times to this man. I want to get his name here, John Oliveira, who is kind of a character in the place where he lives. But in any way, the wisdom of campaign signs, I've never really understood that. I mean, everybody really that they can breathe knows it's Biden against Trump. I'm not sure what a campaign sign does. But over and above that, what legal rights do you have to do what this man did, to put an electrical fence around a sign? I mean, would that not be considered a hazard? For some clarification, I want to bring in Quentin Brogdon. Quentin's been on my show many times. He's a trial lawyer. In fact, he is a fellow in the invitation-only International Academy of Trial Lawyers, standing by to talk to us right now. Quentin, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Good afternoon, Ken. How are you today?
I'm good, but what I want to know before anything is when you're in the invitation-only International Academy of Trial Lawyers, is there a secret handshake?
There is, but I can't tell it to you. I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, okay. So does this guy have a right to put an electrical fence around a yard sign?
Well, the answer is it depends on what the local ordinances for his city say. If he lives in a homeowners association community, there may be some rules and regulations. The fiction is if you live in an HOA community, you've agreed by contract to certain limitations. You can't paint your house purple. Your hedges have to be a certain height. You know, the person who used to be the first grade hall monitor grades you on all that now that they've grown up.
Yeah.
But so it just depends. You can't make it so it's going to kill someone if they touch it. The article I saw said it was a horse fence, implying to me it's a livestock fence, maybe 12 volts. Interestingly, the report also said his signs have not been stolen since he put the fence up.
Well, that is interesting. But what's the legality of having a sign on your front lawn? And let's say you have a sign on your front lawn, and I decide, well, I don't like that candidate, and I'm going to come up in the still of the night and grab that sign and run off with it, dump it somewhere, or just throw it out in the middle of the street. Is that not trespassing?
Yes, you've trespassed and you've committed theft. The sign belonged to me. You stole it. The United States Supreme Court is very protective of political signs. It says governments can regulate putting out signs, but you can't treat political signs different than any other sign. So you can have an ordinance that says, no signs or limited signs, but it can't say no political signs. And so, make this a sign for Biden, make it for Trump. A lot of people listening to this are going to hang on, well, it was a Trump sign. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Insert any political candidate, the law's the same.
But let's, again, a hypothetical situation. I put a sign in my front lawn, and somebody wants to come, let's just say my neighbor, who might be of a different political persuasion, he comes over and he wants to take the sign away. Okay, he's trespassing, he's stealing, it's petty theft, but what right do I have, knowing that I might be subject to an HOA or just local ordinances? Do I have a right to protect my property? Because the reason why I ask this is we've seen cases, some extreme, like the couple in Missouri, that wanted to protect their property. They felt it was trespassing and that they didn't want anybody coming on their property, and yet they've been indicted by the local DA out there. What rights do you have as a homeowner to what's on your property?
Well, it depends on what state you live in, and it depends what kind of property is being taken and whether force is being used. Generally, if somebody's stealing a sign, you're probably not on firm ground hauling off and shooting and killing them. Just like you probably couldn't put a fence up with a shot, 180 volts or something that might kill somebody.
Right.
So you got to use reasonable force. In many states, you can't set up, for instance, what's called a spring gun, a shotgun that automatically goes off if someone opens your front door and breaks in.
I think I saw that on an episode of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I think I saw that. Yeah, I've seen that. Well, yeah, you obviously you can't do that. But if somebody is walking on your, I think there's, particularly when you get into gun laws and owners' rights and homestead and all that. Somebody's walking on your property and they're trespassing. What do you do? I mean, somebody wants to come on your property and just scream at you or your house and shake his fist. You call the cops. Is that what you do? And it becomes a local, dust up. What do you do? What rights do you have?
That's your best advice, is calling the cops, unless they're kicking down your door and putting you in fear and jeopardy of your life, in which case, in most states, you can use deadly force if necessary to protect people. Property is a lower hurdle, and in general, you can't use as much force to protect property as you can to protect human lives. And it depends on your state and the laws. A lot of states have the so-called, defend your castle or stand your ground laws, and that can change things dramatically and give people permission to shoot and use deadly force when they otherwise might not have it.
Yeah. Quentin Brogdon, our guest, he is in the invitation-only International Academy of Trial Lawyers. He won't tell us what the secret handshake is all about. Campaign signs, Quentin. I understand that's a right of politics, and it's been this way forever. But my goodness, if you walk by a neighbor's house and you see a Trump sign, you know Trump's running for president. Or Biden, you see he's running for. I never understood what campaign signs are all about and why they're so darn important to an election. Have you?
Well, some studies, and I saw this after I saw the report online, some studies show that each campaign sign, at least some political scientists think, gets you 6 votes you wouldn't have otherwise gotten.
Really?
I don't know if that's true, and I don't know if that's true particularly for presidential elections where everybody knows who's running, knows the names. But at least in the lower level races, the thinking is you get votes with signs. I don't know if that's true or not. I think your best bet is not to go take someone else's sign out of the backyard.
Yeah.
You're trespassing, you're committing theft, and why risk it?
Quentin, good stuff. Thank you so much for your time. Quentin Brogdon, stay safe, okay?
Thanks, Ken. You stay safe, too. And one day I will teach you the secret handshake.
Oh, boy. Quentin Brogdon.